an inebriated woman at Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania.
You're kidding.
No, go figure. Somebody
right,
drinking at a racetrack. And she wanted me to sign an autograph. And I did. And I agreed to do it.
Where was this?
And then she picks up her shirt. And she said, just sign right here.
Beat Everyone is brought to you by Broadway Joe's Fantasy Sports, inspired by football legend Joe Namath. Embrace the thrill of daily fantasy sports like never before in a new app coming soon. Welcome to Beat Everyone. I'm Ben Flanagan with AL.com. I am here with AL.com Alabama football writer Michael Casagrande, and we're back with another edition of The Golden Age with the legendary Eli Gold.
Good afternoon again, gentlemen.
Great to be here.
So, Eli, to put it mildly, you're a known commodity, right? Like, we've talked for so many episodes about your reputation as a broadcaster, and really just you're an institution unto yourself among Alabama and sports
Or I should
fans.
be in an institution,
Well,
one of the two.
Maybe. You said it, not me. But my first question to you, Eli, do you consider yourself a celebrity?
Well, I don't consider myself a celebrity, but I realize that to some I am. I'm just Eli. But I also know that to many people, I have been part of their families and part of their home lives for decades. And so I understand that. We know each other. We're familiar with each other, even though we're not really familiar and don't necessarily know each other until this series of podcasts. But, I understand the way people will look at me, but I don't look at myself that way. It's just, that decision is for some other people to make.
Yeah, like I said, I think I even brought this up in a previous episode that you helped score some points for me early on, dating my now wife.
Yes.
Ran into you at one of our first dates and got to introduce you to her, and she couldn't stop talking about meeting Eli Gold. So thank you.
You're very
for
welcome.
helping me score those points.
And now you're having a second child. My gosh.
Goodness.
Yeah, go figure.
Yep. So thank you. It's all because of you.
I don't know about that.
What are some of those encounters that you've had, though? Because, people know who you are, and they know your voice, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think Alabama fans, they know what Eli Gold looks like when they hear you, when they see you in person. You must have had some interesting experiences.
I've had a few. You're right. Sometimes it's the voice more than anything else. People will not know I'm around, and then I'll say something, and all of a sudden the head will snap around, and they'll recognize my voice. People are great, and as I've said in the past, if they are kind enough to come up to me and ask me a question, ask for an autograph, a picture, what have you, I will never turn them down. Never. If that's, if they are kind enough to want to do that, I'll never turn them down. I can't understand celebrities who charge for autographs or who are just, who just don't cooperate and will never sign or take a picture for anybody. If somebody's kind enough to ask, I don't care if I'm having dinner, whatever, come on ahead. So, it's been a lot of fun, and you just don't know where you're going to encounter people. It happens everywhere, and you don't know who you're going to encounter. We walked into Scott Field in Starkville one morning. Bama was playing the 11:30 game. In those days, I think it was Jefferson Pilot.
Oh, the big game.
Yeah, the 11:30 game, and so we were on the air at 8:30. We got to the stadium like at 7:00 in the morning.
Wow.
And I walked in with Tom and Butch, and there was a guy waiting outside the press gate where the media goes in, and he had a Goodyear tire and a silver Sharpie, and he wanted me to autograph his Goodyear tire. And I did, and I said, "What's this all about?" He goes, "Well, I've got a number of tires at home, and I'm going to stack them one on top of the next, and then I got a piece of glass, and I'm making it a NASCAR table in my den, and so you never know where you're going to who you're going to encounter and why. I remember when Bama played in Syracuse basketball at the Carrier Dome, and we were in there. It was a couple hours before the game, and all of a sudden the doors open, and here come the students charging in to get a good seat at mid-court, because those seats are first come, first serve in Syracuse. And I'm at the table doing some last-minute notes and what have you, and I hear this guy, Eli. And I turn around, I don't know him. Eli, come here a minute. So I got up and walked over to see him. All he wanted to do was talk about Bill Elliott, the NASCAR driver.
Is it a student?
It was a student at Syracuse, and he knew me from NASCAR, and he was obviously a big fan of Bill Elliott's, and we stood there for 10 minutes talking NASCAR. So you just never know. And at the same time, I'd walk into the NASCAR garage on race day, and drivers would come up to me and ask me about the game the day before that Alabama had played. And, if it was Bama and Tennessee, here'd come Sterling Marlin running up a little more sprightly if Tennessee happened to win. But rarely did that happen. But, it was just, it was, people are great. And if they are kind enough to ask for my time, I am more than happy to donate that time.
Well, you got to tell Ben that, because everywhere we go in public, he's getting all these requests that he is honoring.
Well, especially since now he's the boss.
Yeah.
He's a big time guy.
Well, when we were growing up, not to date ourselves here, autographs were a huge deal, right? Like, that's what you asked.
I used to stand out in front of the hotels getting autographs.
Who was your first autograph from? Who
First?
or any autograph? Who have you asked for an autograph?
It was hockey. I'd go and find out where the hockey teams were staying in Midtown Manhattan, and I would go and camp out in front of the Roosevelt Hotel, and when the team bus would come and go, I'd grab autographs on little index cards. I loved being around the sport. I loved being around the athletes. So I would guess that was my first autograph, although it might have been a baseball guy. I don't remember. I've gotten a number of, same thing, going to the hotel and getting baseball player autographs. But,
any names?
Huh?
Any names?
Oh yeah, all the big names. I would get a lot of the big names, but
You still have them?
no, I don't.
That's a shame.
I think my first autograph was Lou Brock, of all
Really?
people. Yeah, he came to the University Mall in Tuscaloosa,
Mm-hmm.
was doing an autograph signing. I didn't even know who he was, but my dad was like, "It's Lou Brock, get his autograph." And I got in line. He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Ben." He said, "Bill?" And I was like, "Yeah, Bill." And he signed it. But no, that was my first. But I was going to ask you, like, is the new autograph the selfie? And do you take a lot of selfies?
I do. People ask me for selfies all the time, and that's fine. And I would do the same thing. Because for me, I don't have to. I don't like asking for autographs, but I have tapes. When I sat with Eddie Robinson, and when I sat with John Wooden, I would love to have gotten their autographs, but I had interviews with those gentlemen, which is a whole heck of a lot more personal than was a scribble on a little slice of paper. So yeah, I do that. But yes, now you take a ton of and I don't know how many times the camera doesn't work. That happens all the time. I've been accused of breaking the camera, is what it was. But so many times they fumble around and they're nervous and what have you. I said, take your time. I'm not going anywhere. And but yes, it's a lot of selfies.
What about, has anybody ever asked you, Eli, will you record my voicemail outgoing message for me?
I've had a few of that.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had I haven't had that many. I've probably had 8 or 10 of those. Mm-hmm. You know what I have had a good number of is wedding things. Like it's the reception at their wedding, and the husband and wife come in to where the reception is, and all the families are sitting around, and all the guests and what have you, and apparently somebody is always there on a microphone, the DJ or what have you, and he'd say, "Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, here's Mr. and Mrs. Harry Schmidlapp," and they would send me that copy and ask if I would say that. and I'd record it on tape, first timer, Mr. and Mrs. Harry Schmidlap, big Alabama fans, roll tide and have a great life together, whatever. And they'd play it at the reception. So I've gotten a lot of those.
You never get like a touchdown Schmidlaps?
No, I haven't had any touchdown Schmidlaps, but
no, you'd send them your invoice, right?
No,
No, that's just on the house.
That's on the house, man.
Amazing.
I should have known that. I could have
yeah, you could have been
waiting for you.
Exactly. Well, we can announce the arrival of your next child.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Play by play.
Play by play of the labor, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's not get a
Put
little
you in the corner. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
You haven't had your weirdest experience yet, Eli.
We'll make sure we'll get you that one.
Sounds like it, yeah.
So, what has there been a weirdest experience?
There have been a couple. There was an inebriated woman at Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania.
You're kidding.
No, go figure. Somebody
right,
drinking at a racetrack. And she wanted me to sign an autograph. And I did. And I agreed to do it.
Where was this?
And then she picks up her shirt and she said, just sign right here. And, there have been some unusual ones.
So you declined that one?
I did decline it, yeah. But I said, nah, I would hope you'll just wash it off and that will be a waste of time. So, but no, it's there have been a few. That was one that stands out, though.
I bet. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Is that on the weird scale? Is that probably
that's as
high
high
as it gets?
I signed a dog once.
Oh well, that's pretty weird, Eli.
I saw it was a fly on. I was at a racetrack.
No, but we're on the dog.
Oh, on the back, across the doggy's back, going from the back towards the front, and it didn't come out well. It was a fluffy white thing. It was a beautiful dog. But it was, hairy and fluffy, so you really couldn't lay down a lot of ink on that. But I've been asked to sign that. I've been asked to sign, and I did sign an urn. It was an Alabama crimson, had the logo on it. It was a Crimson Tide urn into which somebody's ashes were going to be placed, and this was on the cruise. We had a few years ago, we had a number of Crimson Tide cruises that was sponsored by the Alumni Association and others, and we were somewhere, and there was one of the sessions on board the cruise was an autograph session for all the fans who had attended, and there were a number of them, and this very, very nice lady came up, and she had this urn, and she was going to...
Was it empty?
Huh?
Was it empty?
It was empty,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I don't know if it was going to be hers or a relative. I really don't know. But and there were a lot of players there. I mean, a lot of the on the cruise we had a lot of players and coaches and what have you, former players and coaches. And she asked all of us to sign her urn. It had the Crimson Tide logo, circular thing on the side, and we all signed the urn. So when she is interred in her mausoleum, she will be in this autographed urn. So I've signed that. Those, the chest, the dog, and the urn are probably right up there, all battling for top honors.
Yeah, we're power ranking the best, worst autograph spots. Wow, we got to hear more about this cruise. Like, what's
We haven't done it in a few years now because of COVID and what have you. But that used to be a lot of fun. They would have former Bama players and former coaches come on this cruise. We'd go to, Mexico, you'd go to the Caribbean, what have you, and you'd spend a week on the ship. There were all sorts of question and answer sessions. There was all sorts of Bama-oriented stuff, not to mention the regular onboard cruise ship activities, the casino and what have you.
Was the whole boat Alabama people?
Not totally. I would say 90% though.
Ooh, that 10% must have been really freaked out.
Yeah, and we had a great time. Really did. I guess we did 2 or 3 of those. One or two left out of Mobile, one left out of New Orleans. We had a great time. We sure did.
Did it get wild?
Not really, but there there's no such thing as a free cruise. They gave me and my family a free cruise, but I had to work, MC all the events and so on. So, there are worse places to be MCing an event than the middle of the Atlantic or in the middle of the Caribbean.
You could argue the otherwise.
Yeah, but no, I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was great to see everybody.
Hey, Eli, before we take a quick break, on this note of like signing strange things, we have a fan voicemail. So I'm going to play it for you right now.
Hey, Eli, this is Blake from Tuscaloosa, actually. I was calling to ask about meeting you in person, right? So I met you a few times over the years. In 2014 Mississippi State game, they came in ranked number 1. Alabama was able to win that game. I actually met you at the 2015 Daytona 500, if I'm not mistaken, that year. My question is when you meet a fan, has anyone ever given you a gift that stands out? I was fortunate enough to see someone give you something at an event, but I had no idea what it was one time. And I was just wanting to know, over the years, has any fan or anyone given you something that you keep to this day or that you have in your office or whatever? As I imagine, people have probably given you some bizarre things over the years, and I was just wanting to know that. Once again, I appreciate you doing this Beat Everybody podcast, and roll tide.
All right, thank you, and appreciate your calling in. I haven't gotten that many gifts, to be honest with you. I did get a beautifully hand-carved walking stick, and this was before I probably could have used it. This gentleman had a side business or a hobby, whatever. He made these hand-carved wooden walking sticks, and I have that at home. It was very, very nice. I haven't used it, to be honest with you, but I do have that. There have been some other things, a couple of nice pictures and what have you, but not a ton of gifts. People ask me to sign things all the time, but it's for their enjoyment. But yeah, that I'm sure I'm leaving things out, and I apologize if I am, and it was yours. But that walking stick does come to mind as a nice gift.
Let's challenge the viewers and listeners. I mean, for Beat Everyone podcast, is there something that you would like to be given? And let's see if we can make that happen.
A voodoo doll of Michael Casagrande would obviously have a nice use. But no, it's I don't need gifts. The best gift I've ever gotten was being able to work for these people.
Thank you.
So I don't need anything. I'm just blessed and happy to be here.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to consult with our therapist before we come back, and we're going to come back on Beat Everyone. This has been Flanagan, Michael Casagrande, and Eli Gold. Stick with us. Welcome back to Beat Everyone. We're here with Eli Gold, talking about Eli, the celebrity, Eli off the field. And I wonder, Eli, you got to do a lot of preparation before kickoff. There's a lot on your list, on your agenda. Have you ever tailgated?
Never. It's funny. I got a call 2 years ago, maybe. No, it's got to be more than that. Probably 3 years ago or so, from a reporter from the New York Times, and she wanted to talk to me about tailgating at the University of Alabama. And I said, ma'am, I'll be glad to give you time, but I have never tailgated. I said, we're on the air 3 hours before kickoff. I'm in the booth an hour and a half before that. People are just getting there when I'm already up in the booth, and I've never tailgated because I'm working. And she said, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. So do you think David Kellum, who was the voice of the Ole Miss Rebels, do you think he would tell me the same thing? I said, yeah. I said, I'm sure he's never been to the Grove before a home game because he's always up in the booth and so on. She goes, geez, I'm going to have to rethink how I do this column. And that was it. I've never tailgated. I really haven't.
We need to do like Eli's first tailgate. That'd be a great promotion for the Beat Everyone podcast. Huh?
Yeah. Just come on up to Jacksonville State and join me there.
that seem like something that might appeal to you, though? Like a little pregame fun like that, getting together with friends?
Probably not.
No?
No, I don't. I've just never done it.
Yeah.
I sat in the stands for the Senior Bowl. I go to the Senior Bowl darn near every year of late, and except when I was sick. And when Phil Savage was the executive director down there, and he was my color man, he got us. Where do you want to sit, in the suite? And I said, no. I said, I want to be out. Amongst everybody, and so you can cheer if you want to or whatever. I'm not much on suite sitting if I can help it, and I sat there, and people would just come and go all day, come and go up and down the stair. I was just in the grandstands with everybody else. Yeah, the seats were at the 50, but they were still up, and people coming. And I said to Claudette, my wife, I said, do people ever watch these games? She goes, no, it's like this all the time, wherever you go. I said, even in Alabama? She goes, yeah, they're coming and going and coming and going, and it's just not for me. So I'm more comfortable, I guess, being in a contained, controlled environment. So no, I've never tailgated. I never have.
That's just to piggyback on that biggest criticism. Anytime I'm sitting in a crowd, I'm not sitting where in the media sitting. The people who come and go during play, when the ball's in play, basketball. I mean, hockey seems like they have it pretty well figured out. They'll have the signs where you can't, when the puck's in play, you can't come and go.
Come up and down, yeah.
It's the rudest thing. So if anybody's out there watching, listening, just stay in your seat until the whistle blows.
I see it firsthand all the time, like in Bryant Denny Stadium.
Yeah.
Alabama fans are serious about that. Like if you obstruct their view at all during a play, you will get waved off. You'll get cursed at sometimes.
You should.
Don't do it.
You buy a ticket to watch the game. I remember there was at the Senior Bowl. There was one lady. She was wearing a Saints jacket, a New Orleans Saints jacket, and which had nothing other than, that's how I identified her. And she must have come up and down the stairs 20 times throughout the course of the day. Whether she was going to get something to drink, whether she was going to the ladies' room, whether she was going to visit friends, whatever the heck she was doing, she could not have seen 3 plays throughout the course of the day. She was up and down and up and down and up and down. And here she came again. And I said to Claudette, well, she's making another lap. I said, here she comes and goes. I'm not used to that, Me, I don't get up except halftime to go run to the men's room and then come back and sit down again.
There used to be etiquette in this world, and
yeah, everybody's different. I don't think they were being ugly.
No.
Just the way they are. That's how they go.
They're not reading the room. This is like self-awareness in terms of like there are other people here trying to enjoy this, right? Like it's just like you said, it's etiquette. But with tailgating, you do have to be mindful of kickoff times, right? And earlier you referenced Jefferson Pilot and the 11 a.m. kick, right?
Sure.
As an aside here, I am kind of curious as somebody who's like in this business, what is your preferred kickoff time? What is your
I personally like the morning games.
I do too.
I like the morning games for a selfish reason.
Yeah.
And that is I can easily get to where I'm going to do a game on Sunday. Whether it's to an NFL site, whether it's to whatever it is the next day. If you're done on the air at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I mean, many times, and the folks for whom I work, the NFL, they will always send me, when Bama has an early game, I will go to the West Coast. I will get a quick ride to the airport in Birmingham. I would catch the late flight and fly to Seattle many times. And I'd land and be in the Marriott in Seattle at 10:55 Pacific time that night after having done a Bama game that morning. The first night race in Daytona history, the very first ever race at night, had to be moved because of forest fires on the originally scheduled date. Terrible, terrible fires in Central Florida, and it was so bad you couldn't see down the back straightaway. There was so much smoke hanging from all of these forest fires. So they had to cancel the race. It wasn't safe for the drivers to compete. They moved it to a date in October, the next available date, and it was a Saturday, and Alabama had a game that day. And I said, now what am I going to do? Well, the Bama game was at 11 o'clock in the morning. And the game is over. I had arranged for a helicopter. I mean, it was a cost of doing business. You know, what are you going to do? I would have lost a whole lot more if I didn't make it. I got permission for the helicopter to land on the outfield at the baseball stadium. I got in, flew right to the Birmingham airport. The network, the TV network for whom I was doing the race, were kind enough to charter a jet for me. I got off the plane, I got off the helicopter, got into the jet. My wife was already sitting there. She didn't come to the football game. She just met me there. We took off, flew direct to Daytona Beach. And for those of you who've never been, the Daytona Beach Airport is right outside Daytona International Speedway. The backstretch on the racetrack and the airport, they abut one another. And I had called ahead, and I had arranged for security to meet me at the airport. And I get off the plane. I quickly run into the bathroom at the terminal, the private terminal. I changed shirts, put on a tie, cleaned my face off a little bit, got into the car, and took off around through the traffic in the police car to the Speedway, and got up into the booth about 10 minutes till 7, which was my airtime. That way, none of the guys standing by in case I didn't make it. But I got there, and so that day I did a football game at 11 and NASCAR's Firecracker 400 under the lights that evening at 7. So, you know, that's why I like the morning races. It gives you more time to do stuff.
I think it's a controversial opinion or a hot take or bad take to prefer the 11 a.m. kickoff. Like, everybody loves the CBS kickoff or what is now, I guess, the ABC kickoff.
I mean,
It's a good game. I'm talking about practically. If I'm going to the game,
Now, if I had nothing to do on Sunday,
right,
I would take the 2:30 or 3 o'clock
I take
game.
the 11 every single time, because that way, especially if we're working a game, everybody in this room is in the media, right? We've worked games before. That way, we get to watch football for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
or we
that's
just
true
get
too.
we get our whole day. I can drive around in Tuscaloosa again once that game is over.
If I had nothing to do on Sunday, I would like. There's no need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, if you can help it. And again, an early game means we're on the air at 8 o'clock, which means you're at the stadium by 6:30, which means you're up at 5:15. There's no need for that. But, you know, you make the best out of it. But yeah, so if I wasn't working Sunday, didn't have anything going on, you know, give me the 2:30 game. I hated those 8:15 games. Those things were horrible. But, you know, you'd get home at 4 in the morning or something. But no, in general, I like the morning. I'm a morning, I can get up and get to work. And that way I was literally always, even when I went to do a game in Baltimore, you know, I'd get to Atlanta and fly to Baltimore after an early game. I'd fly to Baltimore and I'd sleep there, and I'm already there. It was good when I had to do something on a Sunday.
What's your favorite kickoff time?
I mean, the 2:30 was always it was a big game. It was an exciting game. You sacrificed the morning, you sacrificed the evening. But you knew that you were at the game that everybody was watching.
Yeah, that's true too.
I enjoyed being at the center of the universe, I guess was always what I would say. Whatever the biggest game was, and covering Alabama, I got to cover a lot of 2:30 games. There's something about that golden sunshine at that time of day. 2:30 always seemed fun to me.
It's all about you, Michael, I guess, and your experience. Yeah. Well, Eli, I wanted to ask you another off-the-field question. Everybody listening here and watching this, they obviously remember that in April 2011, there was a deadly outbreak of tornadoes in Alabama, statewide, but an EF4 tornado passed through Tuscaloosa.
Sure.
And it left a path of devastation, right? The city was forever changed. And the football team rallied in the community with all sorts of public service, rebuilding homes, all sorts of appearances and things just to kind of like improve the morale of the city, I think. What do you remember about that moment in the season that followed?
Well, I do remember from the tornado, my daughter was in Tuscaloosa, a student at the university, and she was at her dorm was right adjacent to Bryant Denny Stadium. And we were on the phone with her, you know, and we didn't know where the storm was going and all of that. And, you know, she got into the bathtub and brought their mattresses in there with them. And we're talking with her on the phone, you know, and we're watching the TV. So we were able to tell her, well, it looks as though it's going to miss you a little bit and go around here and so on and so forth. So I remember the nerves that a parent had, you know, doing the play-by-play of where a tornado's going to let your daughter know that she's going to be okay. I then remember very vividly my wife and I going out and helping serve food to the community. Bob Baumhauer, who owns, you know, the Wings places and so on, he provided food, and very much like the players did. We went out and, you know, served plates and, you know, did what little bit we could to try and ease people. And as Coach Saban had also said, I found that these people who were displaced just wanted somebody to talk to. They just wanted somebody. I'm not a carpenter. I couldn't start repairing homes and stuff like that. But these people just wanted somebody to talk to. And I was happy to lend an ear. And of course, the season was, you know, it was a season that anything that went on, you always referenced it back to the tornado. However it was, whether it's in an opening of a broadcast or during a broadcast, or, you know, we would always have something to read or talk about where you can donate money, stuff of that nature. So, yeah, it was quite the mess. It really was.
Truly unbelievable. And I mean, it's one that I think a season especially, that people will remember. It was obviously a national championship season, but it was one where they wore the houndstooth decal on the back of the helmet in remembrance of the lives lost in the tornado. But I just thought that was a pretty amazing performance.
Especially when you have a guy on the team whose girlfriend was killed and stuff like that. I mean, and everybody you talked to had someone impacted, whether it was, you know, their uncle or somebody at work who lost his house or whatever it might be. It was just an amazing, but I was so proud of the way the team and the university and everybody responded. And I think Coach Saban really was affected. And he, not that he didn't realize it, but it really came into full focus that he was more than just a football coach. He was a community leader. And he made sure that he worked in that role.
Well, absolutely. Like you said, it was an amazing response by the team and the program and those individuals, including yourself. So thanks for being a part of that in terms of helping to rebuild that community.
You got to do something, man.
Eli, well, thank you so much. Sharing a little bit of what happens off the field for you, some of those interesting encounters, let's say. Really fun stuff. If you have a question,
anything of yours I can autograph?
Well, let's see. Off the mic, Eli. If you have a question for Eli, leave us a voicemail, 205-523-4809. Subscribe to Beat Everyone on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And for Michael Casagrande and Eli Gold, signer of anything and everything, I'm Ben Flanagan. Join us next time. Beat Everyone is brought to you by Broadway Joe's Fantasy Sports, inspired by football legend Joe Namath. Embrace the thrill of daily fantasy sports like never before in a new app coming soon.